What is going on, y'all? Welcome to the Joel Friday TV podcast. I am Joel Friday. Bienvenido. Welcome to the show. It is Thursday, my last day of the week until I'm back here on Monday, but it is Thursday. Do me a favor before we get started, hit that like button, smack it, lay the smack down on the like, subscribe, and share, and follow button on IG. Tell your peoples about the show so we get the subscribers and followers up and the message out. So make sure you guys do that. You still got time. Tell your peoples about the show. We are live on IG and on Instagram today. IG and YouTube. Instagram and YouTube. And reason being is because I got that work for you guys. I got that work. That spiritual work. Coming with that spiritual smoke. So we're going to get into that. Topics to be covered. Freedom without condemnation. Freedom without condemnation. Man, this is like such a deep topic for me because it's like explains these false shackles of sin that we're going to get into. Oh my God. It like exposes the false shackles of sin that most people wrestle with. And man, I want to get into it. So tell your peoples about the show. Tell your peoples about the show. It is a talk show. So for whatever reason, if you'd like to call in and talk about the topic at hand or whatever the case may be, you can do that by calling 888-775-3773. 888-775-3773, and we could talk about whatever. Any questions or comments you want to get to, we can get into it live on air. If you can't do that for whatever reason, but you still have a question or comment, or you want to support the show, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/JoelFridayTV and send your comments or questions there, or go directly to YouTube and click the super chat link and hit the super chat. I'm all thrown off because my thing fell off. Hit the super chat button and send your question or comments there, and I'll read them live on air. So you do have that option as well, and those are always fun also. So you do have different options. I do have some donuts I'm going to read today. For those that don't know what donuts are, those are donations in the form of a donut. Right? And I'm going to read some of those donut messages today as well. So, amazing stuff. How's it going, chat? Mod Squad in the YouTube chat holding it down. Shout out to my Mod Squad. Holding it down. Amazing stuff. Shout out to the Instagram folks hanging out in the Instagram chat. Shout out to the Instagram chat. J-Rod, shout out. What's up, J-Rod? Make me a mod on IG, Joel. I don't know how. As soon as I figure it out, you be the first one. I'll mod you up. I can only pin on IG, pin a comment right now. But shout out to Corey. Corey in the chat, in the live chat. That's my best friend. I grew up with Corey for more than half my life. Corey is in the chat. Childhood best friend. Amazing stuff. Let's get to it. Oh, did I make all the announcements? I think I did. Hake said, I don't know how to mod on IG either. I can't even hardly delete or timeout ban comments on IG either. Yeah. IG is, definitely a different type of app. Amazing. So freedom without condemnation, because there's such a big fear, and I'll speak for myself, of being free. And I think that a lot of people, like, most people are dealing with something, right? Anger, anxiety, sadness, loneliness, depression, suicidal thoughts, happiness, even the other end of emotions, right? Happiness and excitement. Like, everybody's always like dealing with some type of thing, right? And I think we fail to realize that we're actually already free. Like, we're already free. Peace is already there. Perfect life is already there. We just don't recognize it and we don't understand it. And I wanted to get on here and like speak on something that I realized that maybe that's bringing more understanding into my life and freeing me up more and bringing more peace to me, that maybe it'll also do it for you. And realizing what freedom actually is and what it means and how to be it and how to have it. Because all these guilt, I want to start by saying by guilt and shame and judgment and condemnation and all these things are not real, right? They're made up and they're in our minds, right? And they're deceptions to make us feel bad about ourselves, to make us feel negative, right? They're negative things. And they're not even real and they don't even exist and they're not even true, right? But, the enemy uses these things against us and against the world, and only because we believe into it. If we never believed into them and we understood the truth, guilt and condemnation wouldn't exist. And I just want to say, in my opinion, you don't got to believe me. You want to know for yourself anyway, right? So don't just believe me, but know for yourself. Freedom is a great thing, a good thing. And I'm not talking about like spiritual freedom. I'm talking about freedom to do what you want, freedom to experience life, right? Freedom to make mistakes, freedom to have sin, freedom to do sin, freedom to sin is not wrong, right? And I know that sounds crazy and controversial, or like I just want clicks. I know it sounds like that, but this is how God views it, in my opinion. He never said stop sinning. And if he did, I think we misinterpreted it, right? Because we have these things to relate to, like the Bible, like references the Bible or like other books, scrolls or passages that say like all these things, right? But I think in the heart of hearts, God is not telling us, his emphasis is not on us stopping sin, right? It's on us clearing up our hearts, and then the sin will stop, right? But I want to just I'm gonna make it simple. I'm gonna try and clear. So it's okay to be free. It's okay to do things. It's okay to experience life. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to try things, even if the world says those things are so bad and da-da-da. But just be conscious about it. I think that's where the problem comes in, is people aren't conscious. Try these things, right? And just live life. And it's not like you have to intentionally go out your way to do certain things, but if they come up, allow yourself to do them, but be conscious in them, right? And consciousness is the most important thing, because when you're watching yourself and you're observing it, that's how you learn what is truly right and wrong, right? And what I think happens is Christians, big time, and I'm going to include myself in there. Christians are afraid to sin, right? Christians are afraid to do wrong and be wrong, and which is also why a lot of people don't want to be Christians, because they don't want to be looked at as a bad person for all these things, right? But Christians are afraid to sin. And growing up, I've always been like, have this fear of like the consequences, right? If I do this and I let myself do this, what will happen? Am I going to get in trouble? Like always having this fear of trouble, always fearing trouble. And, every time those things would happen, there was also a lot of shame and a lot of guilt and making me feel like a bad person and making me feel like I'm not a true Christian or I'm not really like a good person, right? Like I would feel all these things. And the only reason I would feel those type of things was not because they were actually wrong. It's because I didn't want to feel wrong. I don't want to feel like a bad person, right? And that is oftentimes the reason why people don't overcome, right? Because they never truly learn. They never truly learn why it's more beneficial not to do certain things. They never truly learn. And that's because as soon as we do them, we automatically click in like, and we judge it. Bad, 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 bad. And we don't even give ourselves the opportunity to observe it, watch it, understand it, let it happen. We don't allow that stuff to unfold, right? And I was thinking like, wow, like I've done that my whole life. And it's only because I just was afraid of what was going to happen. And as I'm getting older, I'm just realizing more and more, right, that consciousness is what's important. Consciousness is the mind of God, right? Consciousness is what allows you to just observe and learn. And you'll see from there what is right and wrong, because it's like the child who is told from birth to right at that moment where he sees the fire on the stove, right? We know the story. The child sees the fire on the stove and the parents are like, boy, don't touch that. Don't touch that. And then the mama's like freaking out like, oh my God, he almost touched it. Oh my God, get him away. Let's get rid of the stove, right? Mama's freaking out. But eventually the baby looks around and finds that moment where the parents are gone. And he walks up to the stove and is like, ha, 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 ha. He has this opportunity and he goes and touches the fire and burns his finger. And he starts screaming and crying. Mama freaks out. Daddy's mad because the son didn't listen. The child didn't listen. Everybody's going crazy. But what was missed oftentimes is that the child in that moment just learned by experience. Now he knows why he should not touch the fire, because he got burnt. So I feel like oftentimes because of the society, because of Christianity, because of religion, not even Christianity, we're not blaming it on any title, Christianity. We blame it on religion, right? And when I say blame, I mean just like these like false ties that don't even come from from Christianity, but just things that have been made up over time. And those things keep us from like experiencing life and being free and just learning and growing and being a real person. And I want to give you guys an example because it's kind of deep to me. And then I'll get to some calls. Is that when I was yesterday yesterday, I think it was yesterday, the JLP network went on the Jesse Lee Peterson show. And we were talking about if the parent should go to jail for the child's crimes, right? If a child under 18 like commits a crime in the example of like a mass shooting, should the parents also get thrown in jail? And I think that I was thinking that they should be thrown in jail too. Like they raised a bad child, and they also ignored the signs that were showing that the child had this type of behavior in them, and they ignored it, and they should put the kids in jail. I mean, the parents in jail too. And I'm arguing with JLP and the other host, the Hake Report and the American Anchor Baby. I'm like arguing with them, right? Because I'm like, what do you mean? Because they're disagreeing, and I'm just thinking like, what do you mean? Like, it makes no sense why they shouldn't go. But as I'm arguing, I'm feeling like the passion start to rise within, right? The emotion, right? Whether it be excitement, whether it be anger, whether it be whatever, right? I felt this start rising up in me. But in that moment, like, it was helping me make my points, right? It was giving me the energy to like make my points. So I didn't denounce it. I just let it happen. And I was just watching it, but I was conscious in that moment that it was happening, right? I was conscious that I was feeling that. And I was seeing that I was feeling that, but I let it go. I just let it happen. And some of you guys probably seen it. I was getting real passionate. And then I went back and like watched the video just for like editing purposes, right? And I realized that like how crazy it looked. Like, and not in the sense that like it was like super duper just out of control, but enough to not be proper. And then I was like, wow. And I didn't realize that it was coming off that way in the moment. But it's because that the point of the story is like, and by the way, you don't win arguments with like that. You know what I mean? Like, let's just say that your opinion is correct. If I was right about my opinion, I was still wrong about my attitude. So I didn't win. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter if you have the right answer if you come from the wrong spirit. So anyway, the point is, once I realized that, I was grateful because I allowed myself to go through it and to reveal itself and allow myself to feel it and even be okay with it. So then when I watched it on video, I was able to learn in that moment, like, wow, okay, now I see why you don't let the emotions get carried away. So, but if I would have judged it like I would have done in the past, if I would have condemned it in the moment and said like, oh, no, there it is, stay away, then I wouldn't like have understood it. And I think that we should allow ourselves to be free and experience life and be conscious. You know what I mean? And I think that's important. But I'm going to get to a call because I have some more stuff on that, but I don't want to waste time. I don't want to lose time here. But my point, just to end that really quick, is that you want to just be able to be conscious and be free. And when you be conscious and be free, then you're in the clear. But when you are free without consciousness, there's an issue. And we're going to get into that in a second. Let me go to Artie Art at Ohio. Art, welcome to the show. Long time no talk, man. How are you?
I'm all right, Joel. How you doing, brother?
All is well, man.
So I heard you was talking about you said about the parents being held liable for if the kids do like shootings and stuff like that.
Yes, sir.
I agree with you, man. If it's evidence or if the parents have been notified, if their kids is out here doing dangerous stuff with guns and they're known to be out here stealing cars and stuff, and somebody gets hurt in the act of them doing what they're doing, yeah, the parents should be held liable.
Yeah, and some. Go ahead. Finish your point. No, finish your point.
Well, no, just the fact, I don't want to blur the lines. Now, if it ain't the parents don't know, which I find it hard to believe, that you don't go in your 13-year-old room and maybe look around and your kid got pounds of weed or pounds of meth in his room with assault rifle and guns and stuff that you don't know that's in there, or you know what I mean, or your kid's been stealing cars and you don't know this or whatnot. You ain't checking your kid's social media, and you need to be held liable or whatnot for sure. And then that would make the parents start to get in their kids' business. So instead of the police being the first line of defense, the parents would be the first line of defense to stop kids, school shootings or car thefts or any other thing that a kid can do.
Yeah, exactly. And the point is that it helps parents to take these signs seriously, right? Because like you said, Art, what you're right is that these parents know enough to see certain signs, and they're seeing these signs, but they may not just understand the depths of them or what they can lead to, but they are seeing these signs. And I think that whether it is jail or whether it is whatever it may be, it depends on like the weight of the situation. But there has to be some type of consequence, in my opinion, that allows the parents to look at themselves. And if they don't, then they just continue to, let these things happen. So some gotta change.
Yeah, for sure. And Artie Art ain't gonna be the one going to jail because you see, I don't got no custody of my son. Most of these males out here don't have no custody, so that's it ain't gonna be the parents. It's gonna be a parent, the mom,
the parent,
and it's good for my situation or any other person's situation that got kids, that try to fight this democratic family court system or whatnot.
Yeah,
that most of these females, they ain't trying to go to jail, and most of them can't discipline no kid, especially no boy, let alone a daughter or whatnot.
Yeah.
So in that term, that's pushing it back in my court because you gonna need me or whatnot.
Exactly.
Basically to bear the weight that the child brings, instead of you running the daddy government and thinking that it's all about a check, where there's consequences if you bring this kid up wrong.
Yeah. And to be honest, and there's all kinds of different situations, right? But to be honest, a lot of the times these problems are coming from is homes that don't have the father in them. You know what I mean? Homes that the mothers are very emotional and they overreact and they can't handle the children, right? And, meanwhile, they had pushed the father away. And there's different cases for every situation, but they had pushed the father away. Meanwhile, this son is being raised to be a certain way. So it's like, there has to be some type of like acknowledgement and consequences to these things, or else people just won't wake up.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with you, man. But they definitely need to start doing that because it's too many, and especially in the black community.
Yeah,
people just leaving the kids to fend for themselves, and they out here in the streets doing whatever they want to do and causing all types of mischief and getting into all type of delinquent bad behavior and stuff that's harmful to the community.
Right.
But I had a question for you real quick.
Hey, yes, really quick, and then I have something I want to ask you as well, but go ahead.
What's the judgment-free zone? What's that mean?
Meaning that we should be in a place to allow ourselves to not be in a place of judging ourselves and allow ourselves to be free and experience life, even if it's experienced the wrong things, so we can learn from them. But when we judge ourselves, we tend to not allow ourselves to see what's on that other side, and we stay in bondage to sin and all that.
Oh, you said, was you talking to me?
Oh, sorry, I was talking to JLP. Go ahead. Yes, you got
So,
yes, you got some cereal, Jesse.
it's too
Jesse
late to
come
be eating
here.
cereal, Jesse.
Jesse come here and ask me if I want. He can have some cereal milk. Yes.
I didn't want to open it since you haven't opened it.
No, they're both open.
Oh, they're both open?
Yeah.
Well, I'm
What
judging I'm judging JLP. It's too late in the afternoon to be eating cereal, man. You need to go get you some go get you lunch, Jason.
Right. Tell him. All right.
Well,
All right. Let me ask you real quick, because I'm
Go ahead.
also, I was continuing being distracted, so I was trying to listen to you. And Jesse, go. Oh my goodness. All right. Let me
You
ask
better
you
not be
really
eating
quick.
them Democratic Lucky Charms.
Nah, let me ask you real quick, Art, before I let you go. So a long time ago, and only if you don't mind answering, but a long time ago, James had this guy on, and he had said the N-word, and it really bothered you. It really bothered you, and I don't know if that's why you've been gone for as long as you've been. But what have you, when in that moment when he said it, why did it bother you so much?
I can't really. It's really because that's a good question. You kind of caught me off guard with that, and it did bother me or whatnot. Because I guess from how he looks, that I know that if it was anywhere else and it was around face to face, that he would feel comfortable.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Because I know that people would question him about that.
Oh,
like
you're breaking up a little bit.
bro,
Are you there?
Need to chill out.
You're breaking up.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, go ahead.
Can you hear? No, I just knew at just off how he looked that.
I'm losing you, Art. Art. I lost Art. Could you check his phone, Sean?
Hello?
Oh, okay. Sean's gonna check Art's phone. Because I thought that was interesting. That time a long time ago, and I wanted to ask Art about that. So Sean's gonna check his phone and then let me know. While Sean's checking his phone, C-Cell said, Lord Joel coming out swinging. No, I just want to know because, that was like a situation that happened. And, yeah, like he overreact. I don't want to say he overreacted. I don't want to say that, but he definitely reacted in such a way that he made a big deal about the N-word being said. And I was curious to why he felt that he needed to react in that way. But while we're waiting for Art, oh, he's gone. That's okay. Oh, maybe he's calling back. Trying to figure out where to go from here. Let me see. They're gonna test Art's phone. Let me see. While we're waiting to see if Artist's phone is going to be right, let me get to another call. Jaime out of Minnesota. Welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Hey, Joel. I was thinking while you guys were talking, you remember how people used to shame each other?
Yeah.
You know, like if your kid was misbehaving in the store, you'd feel ashamed.
Yeah.
Now you got adults misbehaving in the stores, and there's nobody ashamed. You know.
Now the
I think with this this kid issue on both sides, you know, black and white, we got to bring shame back.
But I don't, to be honest, Jaime, I totally understand what you're saying. And I had said this once, and then JLP brought to my attention that even the word shame is a false thing. Because I get what you're saying is that you mean just people being accountable that what they're doing is kind of off the wall. But I think that shame also can be an emotion and a false thing. I just think that we just need to be more conscious. Like for example, if we are going into the store and being wild, then we should be conscious about our behavior so we can learn from it. But if we're unconscious and we're in the store being wild, then we're not learning, or we're not correcting the behavior. So I think consciousness is what we got to bring back. You know what I mean?
Sure. Well, I guess what I meant then was, hey, you remember the good old days when people were ashamed of misbehaving?
Right.
Man, those are some good times.
We don't. Those, I don't know. Those days are coming to an end.
Grandpa told me about the good old days.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe I'll think on that some more. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it, Jaime.
Okay. Yeah. Bye.
All right. I want to say this last thing, and then I'll get to some more calls and maybe some super chats. Is that this one's for Zenny? This one's for Zenny, because when I always talk about freedom, shout out to Zenny. Zenny is a mod in the Joel Friday TV podcast YouTube chat. When I talk to Zen, when I say when I talk about freedom to be free and do as you please, Zenny always says that, well, that doesn't mean that's okay to be bondage to sin. And he's right about that, and I want to clear that up, is that freedom, and this is important, in my opinion, freedom without consciousness is bondage. So if you're free, which is like most like people, secular people in the world, right? They're free and they're being, doing whatever they want. You got all these, OnlyFans and all these different things and being wild, right? If you're free without consciousness, then it is bondage. You're stuck. You're subject to the sin, right? But if you're conscious without freedom, which is you're aware of yourself, but you don't ever experience life, you're also still in bondage, right? Because you're never learning, you're never letting the wisdom settle, right? You're kind of just, and that's why I lived my life for a very long time as well. It's just like being conscious, but never really being free, never really being afraid to like try things and whatever, right? And that's also bondage. So freedom has to have consciousness, and they have to go together, or else you are going to be in bondage. And but God, in my opinion, calls us to be free. And as we read, Cecil sent the scripture. I don't have it. I should have brought it. I'm prepared. But the scripture was saying is that we're not subject to the law. We're not subject to the law. We are, Jesus came to break us free from the law, right? We're free. For us to understand that the law is not what's important, but for us to realize these things aren't beneficial, but they're not off limits. And I think that that's important as well. Zenny says, you are supposed to train your kids in the ways of the Lord. That way they don't need to try every sin to know how it'll affect them. I agree with that, right? I agree with that. But we also got to let the children live. Let them experience. Let them fall off the bike. Mothers, let the children fall off the bike. Let them hit the head. Let them fall off the fence. We don't always got to catch them when they fall. You know what I mean? Ladies, let them get hurt a little bit. You know what I mean? Don't always come to the rescue. So, yeah, that's what I wanted to say about that. I'm gonna get back to some more calls right now. Let me just see what you guys are saying. But I agree with Zenny. Cooking 3V on Instagram says, you're right about that. You should be free, but without consciousness, you're still in bondage. I'm glad I caught the last part of this. Keep spreading this. Right on, Cooking. Appreciate that. Yeah, 100%. Be free, but be conscious so you can learn. Olga in the IG chat. What's up, Olga? Shout out to Olga. Olga was a previous guest on the Joel Friday TV podcast. Shout out to Olga in the chat. Amazing stuff. Let me check the super chats real quick, and then I will get back to the calls. Hold on, callers. I'm coming to you. As soon as I check these super chats. Let's see. Super chat from Kale. Samogi says, Acts 13:39. Through him, everyone who believes is set free from every sin. A justification you were not able to obtain under the law of Moses. Another great point. You are free from the law by faith, basically what this is saying. Through him, everyone who believes is set free from every sin, a justification you were not able to obtain under the law of Moses. And just to add to that a little bit is that faith, right? Having faith that God is, because what it really is your mind has to be renewed, right? When your mind is renewed, your ways change, and your mind can only be renewed through wisdom and understanding. And wisdom and understanding can only come from God, right? It can only come from God, because you can't make yourself learn something new as far as wisdom goes, right? You can't make yourself, understand. These things have to come as they come. And sometimes we can reflect and be like, But understanding can only come from God, and it can only come from faith. So that's a good point, Kale. Let me just check the buy me a coffees, and then we're back at it. Jose. Oh no, not Jose. Someone says, that's their name. Someone bought a donut and says, Joel is many things. First, he is a dancing expert. I wonder if I read this. Wannabe rapper. Also an expert on the JLP show. Now he's a nutritionist, health expert, relationship expert, and last but not least, he's a gorilla behavior expert. I think I read that one, but still appreciate it. Someone. Zenny says the Holy Spirit needs to be factored into this somehow. It's the Holy Spirit that gives you all wisdom, not your own consciousness, unless by consciousness you mean by the Holy Spirit. Yeah, people know what I mean though, Zenny. I'm not, I can't always get every single word on point, but people know what I mean. Yeah, the consciousness is the Holy Spirit, the light of God. And yes, Holy Spirit is at play. So if I get all into use every Bible word, then I'm going to be a Bible thumper. And I'm going to turn people off. So I can't be using all the Bible words. What the? But you're right, though. Let me get back to the calls, because I'm getting distracted by the chat. It's addicting. James out of New York. James, welcome to the show. You're on there.
Hey, what's up, Joel?
How's it going, James?
We've spoken before about the subject, and I understand your thoughts on it. I want to ask you from a different point of view of the situation. Is when do you think it's not okay? When should it stop? When it comes to charging parents then for the crimes of their kids, like at what point can you say, okay, we can't charge you for this behavior or this crime of your child? So in a sense of like, I don't know if you ever heard of that story about the little girl at the daycare. She picked up a baby, she dropped it on its head, and then apparently she panicked and stomped it.
Yeah.
Sorry to be morbid, but killed the baby.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that child's parents should be charged with the crime of their child?
Good point. So my thing is this: it's not that I believe that parents, just when something happens to an underage child and they do some type of harm to somebody else, or they do a crime, I'm not saying that every parent should be charged in those situations. The reason why I said about this specific situation is because not only did the parents raise the school shooter guy, not only did the parents raise him a certain way, but also when he was exhibiting these certain signs, they ignored them. And maybe not every time the parent needs to go to jail, but there has to be, in my opinion, some type of accountability that parents need to be given when they ignore these signs that lead to certain things. Like this parent they seen that this child was drawing pictures of killing people and saying that he has demons in his mind. What was not on in the parents' minds to let them know we got to take this kid out of school? But instead they put him back in the school that same day. And, they ignore these signs. The teacher said, put him in therapy. But then they said, no. You know what I mean? So it's like these things, we're ignoring signs on top of raising them a certain way. That's why I'm saying that they should have these consequences. But every situation doesn't necessarily need a parent to go to jail.
But what happens is if you go by what you're saying is when you make a law, that's what opens every other situation to it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the point I'm trying to make.
Okay.
It's like, because I know that you're being very specific with this one case where it's like this is the thing, and I get that. So with that one case, guess what happened? They are going to prison. But the problem is if we try and make that for everybody, then let's say forget about murder or anything. Where does that line go now? It's like, oh, if your kid's shoplifting, guess what? Now your parents are going to prison for what the kid did. And then ultimately that will just remove parents from the household. And where does that kid end up? Like that's the only, I think I haven't been precise with that point. I feel like as we've talked more, I've kind of been able to, ponder or think about exactly the point I'm trying to relate to you.
But no, you're making
trying to figure out.
Right now you're making it's clear, and you're right in the sense that okay, well, where does it go? Because when you add a new law, it can be it could be manipulated in any kind of way, right? But I think that there should be an investigation on certain things, looking into the details of certain things. Now, let's just say it became law, right? And I'm not even necessarily saying it has to become law. I mean, it makes sense, but there's a lot when it comes down to that I don't know about. But let's entertain it. If the law was there, then there should be an investigation to really get to the bottom of if the parents could have avoided this and if the parents are truly, truly at fault. And in this case with the kid, in my opinion, I feel like there was enough signs there that can justify it. But in other situations, like what you're saying is with the other thing, is that, you know, maybe the parents shouldn't be thrown in jail. But something needs to wake the parents up to make them take raising children a little bit more seriously than they're doing today, is my point.
Yeah, and I feel that they did that already with like child protective services, where they have taken the parents' ability to properly discipline or raise the children in fear of, you know, the state coming and saying, oh, you can't, you know, do this to the child or this, because the state has already invaded the parents' space of how they can go about disciplining or raising their children with fear of being arrested already.
Fair.
So that's
fair.
Yeah, so it's like there's already an example of how parents are being punished for how they raise their children already, and we saw the how that can have an effect. So if there's another option on top of that
it could be
becomes
abused.
law.
Yeah,
it can be abused.
I understand
and
that.
that's like the weirdest thing for it is like, man, because obviously when you try and bring one way to solve an issue, there's a bunch of other issues that come from that one way, you know, that have a different effect.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, that's true. That's true. And, you know, and you're right, though, is that, like, you make a law, it could be definitely manipulated and abused and changed and used against the people and now all this stuff. And I agree. And the real issue is the spiritual thing. But, you know, it's just it's a complicated thing, because I think that somehow we have to find a way. And maybe we don't. Maybe we just let everybody go out of control until one day everybody just wakes up on their own, which may be the answer. But it's like, you know, sometimes people need to be checked. And my point is, like, how do we check them then? That's just my thing. How do we check them?
Oh, for this situation, did you know if that kid was on medication already?
Oh, I'm not sure.
If they say? All right, because like one reason why I also have these feelings this way is because, you know, I've seen people growing up who have like spiked kids' drinks with stuff before, or maybe gave them drugs without their knowledge of having drugs, and you know, and none of them did, you know, commit a crime afterwards. But like if they did, and then their parents were liable for something that kind of happened to them as a victim, like where is the potential of it can go bad that way? Is like, say if a kid doesn't like a kid, so he puts like, you know, some kind of psychoactive drug in his drink, and then the kid goes, freaks out, maybe drives a car, kills somebody, and then now it's his whole entire family is involved in the situation. You know?
Well, that's why I you know, investigations are important, and being able to get to the bottom of these things and really understand what really happened. But that's also even hard, because who's being objective? How do we know that the investigators are being objective? How do we know the investigators aren't going to be biased? So it's a very complicated thing, and I think it's because people are just corrupt. But I don't know. I just, you know, it's something definitely to think about on what the right way should be. But at the end of the day, spiritually, we got to get right, and these people are just spiritually messed up.
All right. And last thing, Joel, can you post a link to like your intro song or your ending outro song? I like the song a lot. I want to like listen to it at the gym sometimes, you know. So it gets me in a good mood.
Right on. I'll give you I'll figure out the title, and it's easy to find. It's on. I got to figure out where I got it, and then next week on my show, I'll let you know. Remind me.
Thanks, buddy. Yeah, no problem. You be safe, okay, buddy? Have a good day.
All right, appreciate it, James. Have a good one. Nice. James made good points. Let me go to Rick. You got 30 seconds. 30 seconds, Rick. Welcome to the show.
What's up, my brother Joel? I just want to say, man, it was good to hear from old Art again, man. I know it was a while. I said, man, I miss hearing from Art, man, so I'm glad he came through. But
Yeah.
that wouldn't have bothered me, man, because I'm telling you, man, the truth be told there, brother Joel, if you sit at some black people and hear them say some racial things, I heard them say some horrible things from white trash. You know what it is.
Yeah.
But yet it seems like it's okay for us to say because we get that victim mentality attitude.
Right.
And, no, the media don't cover it. But, man, why say the N-word? Here comes all the mainstream media. He should be fired, all this mess. But no one ever records the things blacks say about all other races themselves.
Right. And that's the thing is that, like, we got to stop being – that's why I wanted to ask Art, about it, because I think that what's important is that it's never about anybody else. Yeah, other people got to work on themselves, but we got to work on not being offended, not taking things personal, letting people control us with their words, and and not overreacting. We can't say, well, it's your fault. No, it's our fault for feeling a certain type of way. That was the point I wanted to make.
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why Art allowed that to get next to him. I said, Art, I have known you've been around us, and we ain't said some hateful thing. We don't even correct us on it. We just laugh it off. But when it's done to us, I'm tired of the victimization that they keep blacks in the victimization mode to control them and to use them. And the real thing is like Jesse be saying, and all of us, it's anger. But they got the racist, it's the boogeyman that they chasing.
Right. 100%, Rick. You're making great points. I got to end. Appreciate it.
Oh, okay. Well, love you guys, man. Keep up with the good shows, y'all, brothers. Love y'all. Be blessed.
All right. You as well. Thanks to Rick and all the callers and amazing stuff. Thank you guys to the chat. I got to end. American Anchor Baby is coming in. Shout out to Instagram, peeps on the Instagram. Much love for tuning in. Check us out Monday through Thursday on YouTube and get in on the party. Amazing stuff. Joel Friday TV across the board. American Anchor Baby come in. See you guys next week. Bye.
I recommend you get a copy of my book, From Rage to Responsibility. I write about how the spirit of anger was taken away from me 29 years ago. I forgave my mother who tried to turn me away from my father, and I returned to my father, and through him, my father on earth, and through him I was able